Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Uncle Frank, and I am here for another stage of Le Tour de Beer. Le Tour de Beer is when I do the Tour de France and the Tour de Beer, and I try to drink a different beer every stage of the Tour de France and try to ride my bike each day of the tour as well. So I have not been able to mingle all those together. If you follow me on Instagram, Team Beer Guts with an underscore on those, you'll see what I rode this morning, and then you'll see the beer review, a 1 minute review uh, later on. But here's where we put it all together between actually the tour, actually my ride, and the beer. So what are you going to do first? First, we're going to apologize for the lousy video quality. I don't know what's happening. This is the same system that I have used in the past, and for some reason, it looks like crap. I, you know what? I don't know what to do. I'm not a professional. I don't do this all the time. So this is what it is. Part two, pour the beer. I've at least learned that let's pour the beer, sip it, and then talk about the tour stage, my ride stage, and then go back into the beer. For anybody who is new to the channel, please like, subscribe, share. Now you're probably thinking, why would I like, subscribe, and share when right now it looks like this is filmed in some dude's bathroom? Because here's the curtain. And it's not a shower curtain. It's just, there's a window here. I mean, honestly, there's a real window. The video quality is not great. But you know what? I've watched a lot of bad videos in the past where the quality sucks or the people suck and they have a lot of views. So I'm still throwing it out there because even if this sucks, I at least think I'm bringing you a little bit of something. Who am I to be able to bring that to you? Well, you know what? That's a great starting point. I'm at the halfway point, or we are at the halfway point of the tour. So let's talk about that. Who am I to tell you about bike racing and beer and everything else if you've never followed the channel? And those of you who have, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you. Let's hold on for 45 seconds while I give a quick debrief to the newly initiated. I am a certified beer judge. I was a professional brewer for 25 years. And I probably still would have been, but life circumstances changed. And then it became maybe it's time for me to get out of the industry. Maybe it's time to do something else. I wasn't really sure. Then I walked into a bike shop and had an amazing opportunity. And I've been at that bike shop ever since. And brewing beer has gone to the background, which is actually pretty good because, brewing beer is hard work. If you've ever brewed beer in your kitchen, you know how tedious that is cleaning bottles and doing chemicals and everything else, and you've never done it professionally. Yeah, yeah. Try walking the stairs and the ladders and dry hopping and scissor lifts and everything else. Brewing beer, a labor of love. And I'm not saying it was a bad thing. I absolutely loved brewing beer. But after a while, 25 years, it starts to take a toll on the body. And I'm not that sad about walking away from it after a little while. And now I work in the bicycle industry. And bikes have been something that I've always been into. I used to race BMX as a teenager and as a young adult and into college. I've followed road racing. I am now into year 20 of doing bike MS. So am I an avid cyclist? Yes. Am I an amazing cyclist? No. So I am the amateur in the most degree. Am I a brew master? No. Do I know how to brew beer? Yes. So I can talk about it on all the in between levels. And I think that's something that I bring to people who just want to hear about from a regular guy. That's me. I'm a regular guy. So uh, that's maybe a little bit longer. I'm not very good at keeping time. I will tell you that. But I do want to kind of finish this up or bring it all under wraps. So let's talk about today's beer. And in order to talk about today's beer for La Tour, and again, a different beer for every stage, I kind of got to go off script a little bit. 94 HJY, the home of rock and roll, is a radio station, 94.1 in Providence, Rhode Island, where I grew up. Paul and Al, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for 36 years of the Paul and Al show. So you might be wondering, I'm going to make this real quick. So the radio station's been around for a while. I want to say it debuted in 1981 when it was Joy, which is like very easy listening music. And then suddenly at some point, joy became HJY. They cut out the O, and oh my goodness, was it crazy because rock and roll started coming out. I don't know what the first song is that they played. I don't know that type of history, but it came a rock and roll station. And that's where I got my influence of Rush, of Def Leppard, of Iron Maiden, of Judas Priest, of Van Halen, like all of that as a kid growing up in Rhode Island, 94 HJY. The morning show, there was some different things that were going on. There was Carolyn Fox, if you remember Carolyn Fox. If you're from that area, you know what's going on. And I went through some different morning show editions. The afternoon, Charles. Everybody knew what time it was when it was 20 past 4, if you know what I mean. But a, a standard in that was the 94 HJY morning show with Paul and Al. And if you listen to a certain radio show all the time, I should have poured the beer and then went into this. Anyway, if you listen to a radio show all the time, you feel like you know the DJs. I actually knew the DJs. Paul Fuller, great guy. I remember playing pickup ball at the YMCA, and his daughter was playing, and then he was playing. So I played pickup ball with Paul. We would not pickleball. No, that's different. Screw you, pickleball. Pick up basketball. Um, Al, so good at food, at drinks, at mixology that we would talk about the science of making different drinks. And I would see them at beer shows, and we would conversate about different stuff. And I got to know them on a personal level, not just on the DJ slash listener level. And I need to say, thank you, Paul and Al. Congratulations. 36 years is an amazing run. And now they're going to go into retirement. Gary Hoey and the Stump the DJ and all this other shit that would happen. I don't even know where to go. Anyway, so okay, Rhode Island. They're from Rhode Island. So what is today's beer? Today's beer is Rhode Island. I look for something very, very specific, Rhode Island. I look for Narragansett Brewery, Rhode Island. I look for Music Express IPA, Rhode Island. Those of you from Rhode Island who have been to Rocky Point Park know what Music Express is. I didn't have it. I couldn't get it. But I do have Narragansett Pilsner. The Narragansett Brewery, founded in 1890. That's right. You didn't hear that wrong. Not 1980, like it's a new craft brewery. No, 1890. The Narragansett Brewery was founded. Narragansett was one of the biggest breweries in the Northeast. When there was no national brands, it was regional brands. And Narragansett was one of those that did that. Yes, they faded out and they went away and they got bought, sold, whatever it happened to be. And then they came back in 2021 in Providence in the Fox Point area. And that is where all the specialty beers are being done. Not just Narragansett Lager, because this is a Narragansett Lager. This is Narragansett Pilsner. And this is being brewed by my dear friend Lee Lord, who is freaking amazing. She's a great person and loves the brewing industry. So she is the head brewer. That's right, she, female head brewer. Again, give the women their props. And she is the head brewer at the Narragansett Brewery in Fox Point in Providence, Rhode Island, making the specialty beers for Narragansett. And they do a bunch of different stuff. And it's great to be able to see what she's doing and the success she's having and the beers, which I already know is good. And I'm going to tell you about how good this is right now. So I'm going to tell you right now, the video will be a little bit longer. I always want to keep it to between maybe 8 minutes. I'm already about at 9.5, but we got to talk about this beer and we got to talk about today's riding. All right. So we are looking at a Bohemian Pilsner. What exactly is Bohemian Pilsner? Without getting into super deep detail, and again, I like to refer to other channels who've been doing this a long time. The Craft Beer Channel, a couple of guys from across the pond who are very good at what they do and what they describe. They will break down all the different types of lager and Pilsner and everything else. I'm just going to give you the very, very brief overview of my opinion and what I think as a beer judge and as a former brewer. Bohemian Pilsner. B, Bohemian. B, body. I want a Pilsner with a little bit more body than, say, its German counterpart, which is going to be a little bit thinner bodied and very dry and crisp and snappy. Both are still going to have that nice noble hop aroma. What's noble hop? Grassy, earthy. You're not looking for huge citrus bomb aromas. It's not a frickin' IPA. And if you say, oh, that's why I don't like lager. A, lager's not a style. Lager is a way to be able to brew. It's a yeast strain. There's so many different types of lager. Do you like Oktoberfest? Yeah, that's also a lager. So if you say I don't like lagers, you don't know what you're talking about. But I'm not going to yell at you about that. I'm going to ask you to listen and become educated, as we would jokingly say. Anyway, Bohemian Pilsner. Medium bodied, not thin bodied, not dry. Pilsner can be drier. This has a nice little toasted note to it, toasty little bread body to it somewhat. Damn it, that's good. It just the aroma matches the taste. It's an easy drinking, even though it's a little more full bodied of a beer. A little bit of toasted bread with a hint of sweetness, maybe honey or in there. And no, there's no honey in the beer. We know this, but quaffable though. You can still totally do this on a hot day. Light in color, nice white head to it. This is Narragansett's Bohemian Pilsner. If you have the opportunity to pick this beer up, you should do so. Let's talk real quick. It's Tour de Beer. It's Tour de France. Let's talk about today's bike ride. If you didn't see the video before, today was just a little morning ride, a little shakeout ride. I'm trying to do a ride each day of the Tour de France. I will not ride tomorrow. Tomorrow's a scheduled off day. I got to let the legs rest. But today was just kind of getting out there. A Zone 2 ride. If you're a rider and you want to know what that's about, that's what I did today. Zone 2. Try to keep the heart rate in that lower zone. My zone, Zone 2 actually runs a little higher. Like 140, 145 is still Zone 2 for me. I don't know. Does that mean my heart's going to explode at some point when I try to ride at 180? I have no idea. But it was an easy spin, just get it going. And then I did that, and I went to work to go watch the end of today's stage. Today's stage, sprint stage. Again, I'm really hoping for a win for my boy, Biniam Girmay. It didn't happen. Of course, we're rooting for Mads Pedersen. I work the bike shop that I work at. I don't edit, by the way, if you didn't realize that. So Mads is a Trek guy. He's riding the Madone, which is a freaking amazing bicycle, by the way. And he is the points leader right now. So, of course, we want him into the mix as well. But, man, I'd like to see Biniam get something. I did mention on yesterday's video that I'd like to see Julien Alaphilippe into the mix. He's not going to win a sprint stage. I understand that, but I still want him to be up front. So today, there were guys up front. It was going back and forth. It was a stage for the sprinters. And we saw some people come up there and then some people not. Biniam was in the mix. There was a weird piece where Mads won, but might have got a warning. A warning? Really, UCI? Of all the can I say shit? Yeah, of all the shit that you've pulled before, he got a warning for the little move over that he did? Has anybody seen other people just ditching water bottles in the sprint zone at the final? And there's no warnings there. The UCI needs to get their heads out of their asses, honestly. And Phil Guyman, who I've talked to about before, or I didn't talk to him, but I talked about his videos before, does a really good job of breaking down videos and breaking down the actual race. I'll put a link in below. Check out Phil Guyman's channel if you haven't. But and maybe he won't be as raw as I am, but what the F, UCI? What are you doing? That's I don't even know. It's so ridiculous what you were trying to accomplish or look at or whatever. It was dumb. It was dumb. There was nothing there. And then you rescinded it. Or no, actually, you didn't rescind that. You rescinded Jasper Philipson the day before, which might have been even more egregious. And then you pulled it back. You either do it or you don't. Like they're saying, like, I'm almost pregnant. Like, really? You did or you didn't? Come on. Anyway. So I'm rambling because I really wanted to give a lot of detail on this beer. Wanted to give that realm of today's ride, which is really just nothing, and then the tour phase. So make sure you go and watch the highlights because this is not a very good detailed highlight show. But I will say, because I can say that Jasper Philipsen is not going to win a stage. That is my prediction for the rest of the 2026 Tour de France. He's not going to win a stage. He just doesn't have it right now. He's close, but he got beat by a guy that no one expected, no one had on their bingo card. Uno X is just like, hey, we want to win a stage? Oh, we got another guy? Oh, we're going to do sprints? Uno X is the freaking X factor right now. And it's so fun to watch. But guess who doesn't think it's fun? Jasper Philipsen. That's right. Because he doesn't have a win. He gets nipped at the end again. So I'm going to say Mads wins that green jersey. Bohemian is going to get a stage win. I think by the end, Mads wins the green jersey. Yellow jersey, polka dot jersey, no changes really because there's nothing in between. Although I think it'd be funny if Jonas tried to like put a little dig in, just be like, oh, I can get a couple of seconds or whatever. And again, Jonas Vingegaard is a great rider, and he is riding great. He might be riding better now than he did last year. But guess who's riding better than better? And that is Tadej. Tadej Pogacar is running at the highest level of high levels. So even if Jonas is better than before, so is Tadej. So they're both outpacing everyone. Think of it as in beer terms. Remember, we want to do like, what's the hoppiest beer? What's the most bitter IPA? Well, I need more bitter, more bitter. 60 IBUs, 70 IBUs. And then somebody makes 72 IBUs, but somebody else makes 80 IBUs. Like, it's still, they're just doing this. Right now, Tade is the IPA master. It's just that simple. And Jonas, well, Jonas might get punched back to ESB status. I'd like to see Del Toro do something else going forward. Yeah. So my rides right now, pop-up gravel ride coming up on Sunday. We'll do a little filming of that and get some footage on it. A little ride on road ride on Saturday. So that'll be the next 2 stages from now. Hopefully you're still following along. Maybe you've been like, who is this clown? But hey, I'm just going to throw this into the interwebs and see what happens. And that's where we're at. So you can follow me along on Team Beer Guts on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. It's my regular name, Frank Firmino, but that's no fun. And then here on the YouTubes. Longer video, again, but there was a lot of information for me to get off my chest today between beers and rides and everything else. And Bohemian Pilsner, just freaking delicious. Maybe I should just round that out too. You look at a medium body beer, 5% alcohol. Actually, this is, I can tell you right now, this is 5.2. 5.2% alcohol. And that's where that beer should throw in. Again, nice, easy drinking beer, but more interesting. And you just drink that and you quaff it down, but it's still something to think about. A great beer to be able to have with food. Like, you slice this up with some cheese. Yes, you a great snack. Hanging out, and it's Pilsner. So on a warm day, this goes down really, really easy. That is the end of today's stage Tour de France, Tour de Beer. As always, be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Ride bikes, drink beer, do epic shit. And please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, and be good to each other. Yeah. Until the next time, cheers.